You know that feeling, don't you? That restless energy that keeps you checking your phone for that text, refreshing your email for that opportunity, scrolling through their posts to see if they're thinking about you, planning your next move, your next strategy, your next attempt to make something happen. You've been running this same exhausting race for months, maybe years, working harder, trying different approaches, following every piece of advice, manifesting, meditating, affirming, visualizing. You've done the inner work, you've raised your vibration, you've cleared your chakras. And still, you're sitting here wondering why nothing has shifted. You stare at the ceiling at 2 a.m. and whisper, "What am I doing wrong? Why isn't this working? When will it be my turn?" And deep down, there's this terrifying thought you don't want to admit. Maybe I'm just not meant to have this. Maybe I'm asking for too much. But here's what Carl Jung, the man who decoded the deepest mysteries of the human soul, discovered. You're not doing anything wrong. You're just doing everything backwards. Jung said, what you resist not only persists, but will grow in size. And what you've been resisting this entire time is the one thing that could change everything. You've been trying to force life to happen with a clenched fist, but life doesn't respond to force. It responds to flow. You've been pushing against the current when all you needed to do was stop swimming and let it carry you. What if the most powerful thing you could do right now isn't to try harder, but to stop trying altogether? What if your breakthrough isn't on the other side of more effort, but on the other side of surrender? This isn't about giving up. This is about giving into something far more intelligent than your anxious mind. Because when you finally stop interfering with your own destiny, when you stop blocking your own blessings with desperation, something extraordinary happens. The universe stops testing you and starts supporting you. Here's what nobody tells you about manifestation. The universe doesn't care about your vision boards. It doesn't listen to your affirmations. It doesn't respond to your desperate prayers at 3 a.m. when you can't sleep. The universe responds to one thing only, your unconscious frequency. Carl Jung understood this with terrifying clarity. He said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Translation, your subconscious mind is the CEO of your reality, and your conscious mind is just the intern running around thinking it's in charge. Every time you say, I'm worthy of love, but your nervous system is screaming, people always leave me. Guess which message the universe receives? Every time you visualize abundance while your inner child is whispering, there's never enough. Which energy do you think you're broadcasting? You can't lie to the unconscious. It sees everything. It remembers every wound, every disappointment, every moment you decided you weren't safe to want what you really want. And it runs the show from the shadows, creating exactly what it believes to be true about you. That's why people spend years manifesting the same toxic relationships, the same financial struggles, the same patterns dressed up in different clothes. They're not attracting what they want. They're attracting what they are. And what they are is a walking contradiction between desire and disbelief. The mirror never lies. If your life feels like a constant struggle, it's not because the universe is against you. It's because part of you still believes struggle is your identity. If love keeps slipping away, it's not because you're unlovable. It's because somewhere deep inside, you're still that wounded child who learned that love comes with conditions. Jung called this projection. We don't see the world as it is. We see it as we are. And until we're brave enough to look at what we really are, the wounded parts, the scared parts, the parts we've been running from, we'll keep creating the same reality over and over again. But here's the breakthrough. When you stop fighting the mirror and start listening to what it's showing you, that's when everything begins to shift. Because the unconscious doesn't want to sabotage you. It's trying to protect you. It's just using outdated information. And then comes the hardest part, after you've finally let go, after you've stopped the chasing, the obsessing, the midnight scrolling through their social media. After you've done the inner work and faced the shadows, something happens that breaks most people. Nothing. Silence. Stillness. No sign. No reward. No sudden miracle flooding your life with everything you've been waiting for. Just you, sitting in the space between what was and what could be. And every fiber of your being screams, "This isn't working." Welcome to what Jung called the creative void. The place where your old self has died, but your new self hasn't been born yet. The space that feels like purgatory, but is actually the womb of transformation. Most people panic here. They think the silence means they've been forgotten. They interpret the stillness as punishment. So they go back to chasing, back to forcing, back to the exhausting dance of trying to make things happen. And they throw away everything that was quietly forming in the darkness. But Jung understood something profound about this space. He said, "In all chaos, there is a cosmos. In all disorder, a secret order. What looks like nothing on the outside is actually everything on the inside. Your nervous system is rewiring. Your energy is recalibrating. Your soul is preparing to receive what your old self could never hold. The void isn't empty. It's pregnant with possibility. But it requires something most people have forgotten how to do. Trust. Trust in the invisible process. Trust in divine timing. Trust that the universe is not testing your patience, but preparing your capacity. You see, the universe has to check something before it gives you what you asked for. Can you hold it? Can you receive it without losing yourself? Can you embody the energy of having it before it arrives? Because if you can't, you'll sabotage it the moment it shows up. The void is where you learn to feel wealthy before the money comes. Where you embody love before the relationship appears. Where you become the person who doesn't need the thing to feel complete. And when that shift happens internally, the external world has no choice but to mirror it back. But first, you must pass through the fire of uncertainty. You must learn to be still when every instinct tells you to move. You must find peace in the pause. Because on the other side of this sacred emptiness lies everything you've ever wanted. Not because you earned it, but because you finally became it. Now we arrive at the part most people skip. The part that doesn't fit neatly into a quote card or a morning affirmation. We arrive at your shadow. Carl Jung didn't just give us pretty concepts about the unconscious. He gave us a roadmap to the parts of ourselves we've been hiding from. He called it the shadow. Not evil, not darkness, but the aspects of who you are that you've rejected, repressed, or pretended don't exist. And here's what no one tells you about manifestation. You cannot create a life of wholeness from a fragmented self. You cannot call in authentic love while rejecting the parts of you that feel unlovable. You cannot attract lasting abundance while running from the parts of you that feel unworthy. Every time you obsess over a desire, you're not just wanting something, you're avoiding something. Every time you chase love, you're running from the fear of being alone. Every time you hustle for success, you're running from the belief that you're not enough as you are. Every time you try to manifest your way out of your problems, you're actually manifesting from your problems. The shadow doesn't disappear because you ignore it. It gets louder. It gets more creative. It finds ways to sabotage every good thing that comes your way because it's trying to get your attention. It's trying to tell you something important. You can't heal what you won't feel. Jung's process of individuation isn't about becoming perfect. It's about becoming whole. And wholeness means embracing all of you. The angry parts, the scared parts, the parts that feel not good enough, the parts that feel too much, the parts that want to run, the parts that want to hide. When you finally turn toward your shadow and say, "I see you, I hear you," you're allowed to exist here. Something magical happens. The internal war ends. The self-sabotage stops. Your energy becomes unified instead of contradictory. And for the first time, you're manifesting from integration instead of desperation. This isn't about perfection. This is about compassion. Compassion for the parts of you that learn to survive in ways that no longer serve you. Compassion for the wounded child who built walls to feel safe. Compassion for the part of you that's been driving the bus from the back seat, creating chaos just to be seen. Because here's the truth Jung spent his life teaching: what you resist in yourself will persist in your reality. But what you integrate in yourself will transform your entire world. But here's where the real magic lives. What if everything you've been trying to manifest isn't something you need to create? What if it's something you need to remember? Carl Jung spent decades studying the human psyche, and his most profound discovery wasn't about what we need to become. It was about what we've always been. He said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are, not who you think you should be, not who the world told you to become, who you truly are." And who you truly are isn't the anxious, overthinking, desperate person you've been identifying with. That's just the costume you put on to survive in a world that taught you love had to be earned. Underneath all that noise, underneath all those layers of conditioning and wounding and trying, there's a version of you that never forgot their worth. A version that doesn't chase because they already embody. A version that doesn't grasp because they already are. You didn't come into this world doubting yourself. You didn't come here believing you had to prove your value. You came here knowing you were loved, knowing you were enough, knowing you belonged. But somewhere along the way, the world convinced you otherwise. Every desire you feel isn't random. It's not the universe dangling something in front of you to torture you. It's your soul remembering what it came here to experience. It's your original blueprint trying to express itself through you. The love you crave, you already are that love. The peace you seek, it's your natural state. The abundance you want, it's your birthright. You're not trying to attract these things from outside yourself. You're trying to remember them from within yourself. Jung called this process individuation, the journey back to your authentic self. Not the self that's been shaped by trauma and conditioning, but the self that existed before the world taught you to be small. The self that doesn't need permission to exist, to want, to receive. When you stop trying to become someone worthy of your desires and start remembering that you already are, everything changes. You stop begging the universe for what you want and start allowing what's already yours. You stop forcing manifestation and start embodying your truth. Because manifestation isn't about creating something new. It's about clearing away everything that's not you, so what is you can finally shine through. So here we are, at the end of this journey and the beginning of your awakening. If you've made it this far, if something inside you has shifted even slightly, then this wasn't an accident. This wasn't just another video you stumbled across. This was a divine appointment. A moment your soul has been waiting for. Carl Jung once said, "We meet ourselves time and again in 1,000 disguises on the path of life." Maybe this video was one of those disguises. A mirror disguised as content, a reminder disguised as entertainment. You found this because part of you is ready to stop running, ready to stop chasing, ready to stop pretending that the answer is somewhere out there when it's been inside you all along. This isn't just information, this is invitation. An invitation to stop living from your wounds and start living from your wisdom. To stop manifesting from desperation and start magnetizing from wholeness. To stop trying to become someone worthy of love and start remembering that you are love. If this message has cracked something open inside you, don't let this moment dissolve into your feed like everything else. Don't scroll past this awakening. Honor it. Leave your story or experience in the comments below and consider subscribing to the channel. Not for me, not for the algorithm, but for your unconscious mind. To declare that this time is different. This time you choose remembering over running. Hit like if you're ready to trade anxiety for alignment. If you're done with the exhausting dance of chasing and ready for the elegant art of allowing. And if you know someone who's lost in the maze of trying to force their life into shape, share this with them, because Jung also said, Your vision will become clear only when you look into your heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens. This is your moment to awaken. To stop looking for yourself in other people's approval, in achievements, in accomplishments, and start finding yourself in the silence of your own soul. You're not manifesting a new life. You're remembering the one that was always yours. You're not becoming someone different. You're returning to who you've always been underneath all the trying. So breathe, feel, remember. The chase is over. The remembering begins now. In a world that profits from your forgetting, remembering who you are is the most radical act you can commit. And you've just committed it.